Do you have trouble decorating certain spaces in your home? Then join me for some inspiration and decorating tips to transform any room into your dream space. No shopping required. Hello friends, welcome back, and if you're new here, I'm Jennifer. Thank you so much for being with me here on our channel. I'm so excited to share some decorating with you all today. I haven't really done much since the holidays. I usually decorate for the winter, but I really didn't do that this year, so I'm very ready to bring some life to our home with some spring-inspired decor. But more importantly, I'm going to share some of the ways I find inspiration to transform and decorate the spaces in our home. I really want to spark creativity, talk about how to find the furniture and decorations that best suit a space, and share practical ideas to help you bring new life to even the trickiest corners of your home. Now, I want to preface this by saying that no one should feel pressured to constantly change out your decor, not even for the seasons. I'm someone who does it because I love to change things seasonally, but that is just my preference. So I don't want to leave any of you with the impression that you have to constantly turn over your home. I love to do it because it forces me to do a deep clean. Otherwise, I could potentially neglect some areas. I want to make this fun and inspirational and offer some ways I transform our home into a place we truly love. So let's get to it. For inspiration, I love to look through design books, magazines, and follow designers on Instagram and other social media sites. I also love searching for ideas on Pinterest by using keywords or phrases that work with my style and how I want our home to look. So for today's inspiration, I wanted to keep things simple, and I'll be using Shea and her new line for spring that I'm absolutely loving from McGee & Co. She really did a great job with a more traditional line of furniture and decor pieces for this year. And this is not a sponsored video. I'm simply using her design for a jumping off point. I'm also going to be decorating with the things I already own. I am not buying anything new for the spring season. I have plenty. I don't need anything else. And that's a really important point to keep in mind when using designer inspiration. When you look at the inspiration photos, use them as a guide, not that you absolutely need to copy and paste, because that gets expensive, and I'm sure you probably already have what you need somewhere nestled in your home. Think of it as shopping your own spaces. You could even transform something you may be tired of to give it a new life. Get creative, enjoy the process. So to begin, I'm going to start in our entryway. This little entryway is very small. Now, I love cozy spaces, but it doesn't allow for a lot of area to decorate, so I have to really keep that in mind. And really importantly, the size and scale of furniture is so important when you're decorating a space. You really want to make sure that your scale and size of furniture fits the area that you're putting it in. And you really need to know how also your space is functioning for you. Now, I could have definitely opted for something other than this moon table. I would have loved, honestly, to put a vintage dresser here, the little 3 or 4 drawer dresser. But I think it would have cut into the walkway, because this is not only where you enter the home from the outside, but it is also where we travel to go to the second floor. It's where the staircase is. So I need to keep this, line of travel open and not block it, but I still wanted something pretty. So this moon table actually worked out really, really well because its size, it's got a curvature so that it allows for more walking space. So when decorating a space, just always remember to look for things that fit the space and fit what the purpose that you need it for. Now, a really great thing for this space, instead of this table and a mirror, you could put just one long piece of art on this wall and it would look absolutely beautiful. Or you could do some art with a cute little pencil bench underneath. And since this is a entry point, you could also put a storage bench with maybe some pegs to hold, tote bags or scarves and hats and coats and things like that. So you could make this really very functioning space for you as well. Rugs are also very important in your spaces, and I opted for a round rug. Originally when we moved here, I had just a little tiny, I don't even know, it was probably a 2x3 rug here in front of the doorway, but it just didn't look right. It just kind of felt off. It made the space feel a little bit off. So I did opt to do a round rug in here, and I actually love that it kind of softens all the dimensions of this little area because it is very square, it's very boxy. So the round rug just kind of softened the space up. So again, keep in mind things like that when you're decorating your areas. Rugs are so important because it's a way to introduce textures and colors and softness into your space. And finding furniture and rugs and other things, you can definitely shop secondhand. It doesn't have to cost a lot. Just, shopping secondhand, Facebook Marketplace, things like that. I have good luck at the antique stores on occasion and vintage, finding vintage things. So you just kind of have to look, just to find those deals. But definitely, things do not have to cost. You don't have to buy designer items. So now let's decorate this space. So let's take a look at the Shea inspiration photo that we're going to be using to decorate and how I like to use that as a jumping off point for my decorations. As you can see, it's fairly simple in decor, and the console table, even though it's made of iron and marble, is delicate and very open in design, keeping the table from looking overly heavy visually in the space. She has also used a very spring-inspired piece of framed art that adds a hint of whimsy. It's larger in scale but stays within the dimensions of the console table, which is very important. A table lamp was added to provide ambient lighting, as well as glass hurricanes with candles. A floral arrangement in a pretty footed vessel is nestled on top of some coffee table books. Very simple, yet elegant. So like the inspiration photo, my table is very light and airy and not very heavy as far as visually in the space. So I've already got my table in place. My artwork is actually the mirror. I will not be putting artwork up here. I'm just gonna be using the mirror because I do like having it bounce the light around. There is no overhead light in this space, so I need as much light as I can get in here. Now, we're gonna start with the inspiration photo. We're gonna start with the lamp. In the inspiration photo, she used a very kind of rustic, more on the modern side table lamp, and that's fine, but that's not what I'm gonna be using here in my home. Again, when you're looking at the inspiration photos, just use them as a guide. So I really do like the idea of putting a lamp in here because I do need a light source. But since I don't have a plug, I would have to use one of these rechargeable ones, and I love this one from Amazon. I will leave whatever I can today that I'm using linked below, just in case you're looking for something similar or need something like this in your home. But I do love this one a lot because it has 3 settings for the light source, and I have a silver one, but the silver one just has the on and off. It doesn't have the dimming capability. So I do love this one a lot. But what I don't like really about this is that I feel like the scale is off. And her photo, the lamp is heavier, it's substantial, it takes up a lot more space. So I thought, why can't I turn this really pretty vase that I made, oh gosh, last year, for a DIY project, and I absolutely love it, and I think it's perfect for spring. But it's just a little vase, and I thought, why not try to transform this vase into a lamp? So we're gonna do that. So to create this lamp, I'm going to find a really pretty side of this that I like the best. We're going to go ahead and set the vase down, and then I'm gonna add my light source, which is this lamp, and it fits perfectly inside. So we're gonna use that as our light source. And then I have this lamp shade that I just stole from one of the lamps upstairs that I'm not using right now. And I'm just gonna set that on top of my little lamp shade right there. And I've created a lamp, and I love the look of it. The lamp shade was a perfect size for this vessel. So that's important to remember if you're going to create a lamp out of a vase or a vessel of that kind. Make sure that your lampshade actually is the right size. But we'll go ahead and just turn this on so you can see how it looks. And I think that is super fun. Now, just to kind of make it look more realistic, I thought I could use this little finial. Now I have this museum paste, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I bought this and I showcased this in a video a while back. I despise it. It gets hot and it runs, and so I need to find some putty. But yeah, this museum paste is not worth it. Do not buy it. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and utilize it and just make this look more like a lamp. I love that. Now, moving on, into the inspiration photo, she has some coffee table books, which I'm going to be adding. Now, I have to keep in mind, the surface space of my console table is much less than what she has for her console table. So I have to keep that in mind while I'm decorating. I won't be able to add as much decor on top as she has, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some coffee table books, and I'm going to keep them light in color just because I'm doing some spring decorating, so I want to keep them a little bit lighter. I have this really pretty linen colored one, and then this one is kind of a gray green, which I kind of thought tied in really well with the lamp. So I'm going to add that next. So in the inspiration photo, she also has a vessel with some pretty florals in it, and you could do this several different ways. You could use a very small, more shorter in stature floral arrangement, and this is just some little faux roses that I had on hand in a pretty glass vase that's also a pedestal. And I think this looks really, really pretty, and it's a good way to add color. You can definitely use something other than white if you wanted to add color, and you can definitely use real florals, but I just haven't been able to find any really pretty florals right now. It's the end of February. I like to make a statement, so I'm actually going to opt for this much larger arrangement. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that seems really large for that little table. And yes and no. Larger scale items, sometimes they make an impact. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is I'm really making an impact, a statement with my florals here. And I love the wispiness of these. Now, if they were a very heavy floral arrangement, it's probably would be a different story, but this is very light, very airy, and I just think it adds something to this space that's really needed. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these. So I'm gonna be using this glass vessel because she did use glass in her design with the candles, and since I don't have enough space here to add all the elements that she's used, I've chosen to add the glass with this vase. And then one last element to add is a candle feature of some kind. So I'm going to opt for this little mercury glass tea light holder or candle holder, and I'm gonna just put in a little battery operated tea light because it's gonna be underneath this faux floral arrangement, and I really don't want to burn it. So, and then we'll just add that for a little bit of glow. And I'm also bringing in the silver, which is what I'm going to be carrying through the rest of the space on into the living room. So this little silver adds just a little hint of sparkle to this area. Now, since my table has a shelf on the bottom, I'm going to be adding just one little basket here with a throw blanket inside. And again, I'm going to be using a lot of greens. I'll have greens in the living room as well. So I'm opting for a green throw blanket here, and I think it just adds a little bit of color and it doesn't overpower the space. Now our living room here in this rental home is very narrow, and to prove the point of how furniture can make or break a space, you can see that the scale of our furniture really doesn't fit this room. Our sectional is far too large, and so is the coffee table, and it just really limits the flow around everything. But we didn't want to spend money on new items, so we're using what we have. And it's so very important to think about the scale of your furniture. Make sure it's not too small for the space and not overly large for the space. Again, think about the flow of traffic in and out of a room and just how you really live in the space too. It just really will help you do your furniture placement properly. And also area rugs are super important, that the furniture is, at least the front feet of the furniture is sitting on top of the rug. Make sure your rug isn't too small for the area. It really can make things look disproportionate if you have an area rug that's too small and maybe just barely fits under the coffee table. Now, if this was our home that we were going to be living in for a great length of time, I would definitely invest in different furniture. I love our sectional. It worked for us for a family, but it really limits how you can decorate in a space. And I would have loved to have a couch with some really pretty occasional chairs and a table between, something like that. But again, like I said, we're using what we had. We do have a really pretty little occasional chair over here with an ottoman. I love its tufting. I think it really does give a very French country feel to the room, and I love this chair so much. We've had it for quite a while too, and it's just been a super little piece of furniture. As for artwork, we've really been trying to purchase things that are actual true pieces of art. We've been going to antique vintage stores and looking for things, but some of the art I do have in my home is from Etsy. I did buy this print on Etsy, and it's done on a canvas board, and I really do love it. And I did a DIY frame to frame it out. So again, you know, if you're looking for ways to add a little bit more character to something that's store-bought, you know, just a little DIY project really does go a long way. Finding vintage frames is another really great way to add art to your room. These images are off of Etsy as well, and I just used our printer and used some canvas paper, and I think it really does a great job of imitating a real piece of art, and I love it. I just moved the glass to the back so that way it looked more like a painting. So to decorate this space, let's turn back to our inspiration photo. Now you can see that it is a very traditional space with the cream bench seat sofa, 2 green armchairs, which I am absolutely loving, and the same finish on the coffee table as she used in the entryway. It has a beautiful light area rug to ground the space, and everything is bright and airy. She's used a mix of patterns on the pillows, including florals and plaids, as well as some gorgeous floral footstools with a lovely fringe detail at the bottom. There is color in this room, but it isn't overwhelming, and the mix of patterns and textures truly make the room special. To begin, in the inspiration photo, she's used a basket tray, and so I'm going to be utilizing this basket tray I have on hand. This one is circular where hers is square, but again, we are just using the photo for inspiration and doesn't have to be exact. So I'm going to be using this one for my decorating today. And inside her tray, she has 2 coffee table books, And since my tray is a different shape and size than hers, I'm gonna have to modify my decor a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and start with these 2 coffee table books to use as a riser inside. And we'll add those in first. Now in the inspiration photo, she also has a floral arrangement inside the basket as well. Now again, I'm limited on space with my basket, so I'm gonna modify a little bit. I'm also gonna add greenery instead of actually putting in florals. So originally I was gonna go with this real live green plant that I have in this cute little pot. There's actually 2 different plants here. We had propagated these a while back, but I just didn't like the scale. I really do want a live plant here, but I just didn't like the scale of this. It's just a little bit too small to make an impact here. So I'm actually going to use some faux greenery until I can pick up something that's a little bit larger. And this is a maidenhair fern faux greenery. I think I just got them at Hobby Lobby. I would love a real one. That's my goal, but I've heard mixed things. I've heard they're really hard to take care of, the maidenhair ferns. If any of you have a maidenhair fern and you have some tricks to keep it alive, let me know, because I really do want to purchase a real live maidenhair fern to go here. I think it would just look so pretty. But in the meantime, I'm going to use this faux greenery, and I just have it in this cute little white pot. So we're going to add that. And then she also has a decorative object on the books. I've chosen to put the plant on the books, but I feel like the space is a little bit empty. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this pretty green candle, and it's glass. It'll just bring a different element. So I'm just gonna add that there. Now this is a real candle, so would never light it near this, but I just feel like it adds a little bit of something here. So that's what we're gonna do right there. In the inspiration photo, there's additional coffee table books. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some weight on this side of the coffee table with some books. And I have the Architectural Digest, which is a very pretty linen color. And then to that, I'm just gonna add this Kinfolk Home, which I like these colors. I like to introduce this color again. I did that in the Entryway. It's really important to be repetitive with certain elements and certain colors, so I think that works really well. The inspiration photo also has some beautiful candlesticks, and I absolutely love these that I found last year from Pottery Barn. Yes, they were a bit of a investment, but I absolutely love the style and look, and so I'm going to go ahead and add those as well. Just as she has on her coffee table books in the basket, she put an object. So I'm going to choose to do that here on this side of the coffee table. And I'm going to add in this really pretty marble bowl, and I'm gonna bring in this purple color, which I think is really pretty with the green. So we're gonna add that. So I feel like this space is missing an element, so I really want to introduce some wood here as well. So I think I'll add this cute little picture frame that has my family in it. I'll also add a really nice personal touch to the area. So I'm going to go ahead and add that here. Nestle it with the plant, and I think that's just a sweet little touch. So this cabinet is primarily the way it was for Christmas. I didn't really do anything different. I just left the family photos. I did add one extra photo, and then I have the same lamp that I had during the Christmas season. But I do want to add just one more element. So I thought this really pretty vase would work. Well, actually it has a top, so I think it's more like an urn, but I have no idea what I've done with the top right now. So, because I think the last time I used it as a vase. But it has really pretty crackle finish, and it has some florals on it. And I think it'll just add some color and texture to this side of the room. In our inspiration photo, she's used a mix of patterns and textures and colors in her pillows, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the same with some pillow covers that I already own. I have this gorgeous chenille pillow that has a little bit of a texture to it. It's got a linen color, and I think it's so pretty. So I'm gonna be using that over here. And then also, now this is a little bit more of an expensive pillow cover. I bought this off of Hackner Home a while back, and I love the striping, and I think the linen texture will blend really well and give another, just another pattern. And then for the last pillow, I'm gonna be using this lumbar, this floral lumbar. This is the one that I used for our Christmas decorating, and I just love the look of it. And I knew it would transition beautifully on into spring and summer. So this is the one that I'm going to be adding with those. To introduce a little bit different color, pattern, and texture, I'm going to add this linen pillow that has just a little bit of a detail running down the front, a little stitch that I think is absolutely pretty. And for the final choice, I'm going to be using this plaid pillow cover that I found on Amazon a while back, and I believe I used it in a Christmas decorating maybe one year. I can't really remember, but I think this plaid will just blend really well with the other pillows. The inspiration photo does have side tables and other decorations around the room, so I'm just going to be adding in those extra touches. And since I opted not to have florals on the coffee table, I'm going to go ahead and bring a floral in here on this side table. I found this vase on Magnolia Home, and it's the Meredith vase. I showcased this in one of my videos last year, and I still love this vase. There's something about its shape, the color green that it is. It's just so pretty. And I thought these purple cone hydrangea that I've had, oh my gosh, for years, I thought that they would look really pretty with the green. So for a final look, I wanted to come in here to our dining room, and I have this already decorated as far as the decorations of the room itself. But I really wanted to showcase a tablescape that I found on the McGee & Co website that I absolutely fell in love with. It's very spring inspired, so if you're looking to do a really pretty table for spring, then this is going to be it. But just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in this space, our dining room is very traditional looking with the picture molding and chair rail. Again, it isn't an overly large space, but I've managed to squeeze in a buffet to help me with storage. I've chosen a mix of very traditional furniture with something a bit more modern. I think the best way to decorate a space is to keep things from being too matchy-matchy. Don't buy from the same line. Find those special pieces at secondhand stores, Facebook Marketplace, or vintage and antique shopping. You'll love your space more if you curate the pieces over time. I like to protect my table when I'm doing a table setting, and I've been using these for years. They're just a water-resistant material, and then they have a felt on the bottom. And I've had this particular one for quite some time. I believe you can get them on Amazon. If I can find it, I'll link it for you. But what's wonderful about them is that you can cut it to fit whatever size you need. And it's just a good way to protect your wood furniture. In our inspiration photo, she has a beautiful blue, and I believe there's some green floral tablecloth. The print is just so beautiful for spring. And so I'm gonna be using one I already had. And again, we're not trying to completely copy what's in the inspiration photo. We're really just trying to find what we already own and make it work. And I had this one on hand, and it has like a linen background, so it's not quite as white and bright as hers, but it does have the beautiful blue floral, and I think it'll look really, really nice. Now she's used some very pretty woven placemats, and that really does add a lot of texture and just brings in another element with the florals. And I had something very similar to what she's used in the inspiration photo, but I only have 2 of these. And so I'm not able to use these on my dining table today. I also have these little lace doilies that I used for Christmas time, and they worked out really, really well for Christmas. But I think with this busy pattern, they're just not going to work. And then I have these woven placemats, and I think these will be actually the best ones to use for styling this table. She's also used some really pretty silver napkin rings, and I'm gonna be using these. I've had these for, oh my gosh, years and years and years. And I think I bought them at Bed Bath Beyond, oh my gosh, a very long time ago. But what I love is that it has this little beaded detail around the edging. So it's just really pretty, but kind of a feminine look to it. And I thought they matched really well to the inspiration photo. And then she's also used some blue napkins. So I have these blue chambray linen napkins on hand. So I'll be using those with my place settings. In the McGee & Co. inspiration photo, she's used some very pretty white plates to add to her place settings, and I just happen to have some beautiful white plates. I've had these since we were first married, and so I'll be using these. Now, I could have added a pop of color with this one here that has the beautiful cream and blue florals in it, but I just kind of feel like that's just too much floral with the tablecloth, so I'm going to leave these out. These are the ones that are sitting over on my sideboard over here. Our inspiration photo also shows some very beautiful and delicate drinking glasses, and so I'm going to be using these that I already owned. These are the French brand Duralex, and I've had these for a very, very long time. They're very sturdy. You can buy these on Amazon, you can get them at Crate and Barrel, you can get them pretty much almost anywhere. But make sure that's the Duralex brand. I just think that it's such a pretty glass. It's such a classic, very French style. And so I'll be setting the table with these today. Now for the finishing touches, I'm just gonna add a little bit more wicker with the basket. You could add bread to this, be very pretty. I'll be adding in my crystal salt and pepper shakers. To add just a touch more silver, I'm going to add one of these beautiful vintage treasures that I found recently, right before Christmas. And then again, some more silver to be added. And this is the one that looks just like the one I added in the entryway. And I'm just going to add a tea light to give a little flicker of candlelight for the table. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope these tips help to inspire your decorating and give you the confidence to create rooms that truly reflect who you are. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more decorating ideas, and let me know in the comments what space you have the most trouble decorating. Every room has potential. It just may need a little inspiration. I've loved being here with you today. Wishing you a beautiful week ahead. I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye for now.